Hello, my name is Zan Miller, and my presentation today is on theory of mind. Theory of mind. Theory of mind is not literally a theory. It is the ability to perceive and interpret other people's behaviors in terms of their mental states. Cited from Malley, 2025. Why theory of mind matters. Theory of mind is important for social interactions while watching others or interacting with others. Without theory of mind, you would not be able to know or think what that person is going to respond like. Theory of mind matters because without it, we as people would not be able to understand what people think or want. Theory of mind helps us create relationships and communicate. In my everyday life, without theory of mind, when a child is behaving a certain way, it would be hard for me to understand why they are doing this. Another thing in my day-to-day life, without theory of mind, would be watching the child do something, but not being able to predict what they might do next, which is something I do all the time to keep the children safe. Autism and theory of mind. People with autism have a harder time with theory of mind. For them, they pick up more on facial features and the encounter of a person. People with autism have a more limited capacity. They may not pick up until days later after rethinking and many thoughts about the interaction later. This is when they may be able to pick up on certain parts of an interaction. The mental process theory of mind. There's a lot of components to theory of mind and a person's capacity to see and understand mental states. The process of learning and mastering the tools of theory of mind starts in infants and only humans can master after the second level. The components of theory of mind. The components include projection, simulation, joint attention, visual perspective taking, imitation, mimicry, automatic empathy, identifying agents, recognizing goals, and assessing intentionality. The agent, goals, and intentionality in theory of mind. The agent factor of theory of mind allows for a person to find and see what the agents are, which agents are animals, people, and can also be robots. Recognizing goals just adds to the agent category. This is when the person recognizes the objects are moving and moving toward an object. Then, building on agents and goals, this is when humans begin to see the behaviors and watch as they intentionally do something, or in some cases, unintentionally do something, but they could have been done with a goal in mind. The imitation, synchrony, and empathy in theory of mind. The imitation and empathy tools are basic capacities that come from childhood. Imitations is when a person watches a person and follows what that person is doing. This can be things like crossing your arms the same way or sitting the same way that the person you are watching. Synchrony is when people in conversation synchronize, which this can be done through the tone of voice and the way that their body is positioned. Empathy grows on the imitation and synchrony. This is when a person expresses emotions and the person interacting and conversing also begins to feel sad or empathizes with the other person. Joint attention, visual perspective taking in theory of mind. Joint attention is when two people are focused in on the same thing and then the realization that you both are focused in on the same thing. Visual perspective taking is when talking to someone, you consider their space and where they are, and when asking a person for something using their area instead of where it would be for you. Not thinking about others and the challenges in theory of mind. Putting yourself in another person's place, and looking at it from their perspective. This helps understand their feeling or what they may be thinking. Without the use of perspective taking, this can result in hurt. Not wanting to put yourself in someone's place and just assuming they would feel how we feel can create problems. Perspective of another's. Putting yourself and seeing another person's perspective requires that we separate what we want, feel, and know from what the other person is likely to want, feel, and know. Cited from Malley, 2025. It is easy when using your mind to see what you would do and then what you think another person should do, but leaving your own perspective will show you what they would do in the situation and why they would do it. Explanations of behaviors. People are so quick to ask why someone would do such thing or why they would act in such a way and explain this behavior, the action. But this is when humans are connecting behaviors with mental states. The older theories of telling about behaviors, they looked at them more simple which could be something like an accident or they made a mistake. However, when the behavior is on purpose or intentional, there's a more complex use of the way people think, such as understanding the person's mental state or what the purpose of the action was, and they need to understand the mind, not just what the person has done. Thoughts on theory of mind. Learning what theory of mind is really opened my eyes as to how much would not be possible without theory of mind. This has opened my eyes much more as to putting yourself in someone else's shoes and not assuming that they think like me. The fascinating part about this is as a preschool teacher, my students are learning this and still not fully developed for them. And here are my references used for this